On this episode, we debate what's better, Final Cut or Premiere Pro.
I'm walking the streets of nowhere. I'm playing the game with no regrets. I'm crawling out from the gutters. Cloud and the Joker's all you guess.
All right.
What happened?
We don't have to use this for the pod, but I want to record it just so that in case you do want to use it for the pod, we can.
Okay.
So what
happened?
What just happened is that I'm wearing my Ray-Ban glasses. My Ray-Ban glasses serve as Bluetooth headphones. For some reason, the video that we made today and released today started playing on my phone, and I thought it was playing through Riverside on my computer, and so I shut everything down and freaked out and couldn't get it to stop, and I thought I was going crazy. I took off my headphones. It was still playing really loud, and I was like, what's going on? Yeah.
What's happening?
So the downside of Ray-Bans or these Ray-Ban Metas are that sometimes they might make you feel like you're crazy.
Well, yeah, I can see that.
I'm really glad we weren't recording when that happened because I freaked out like a cat. I started throwing things. Like I was trying to just make it stop because it's really loud.
Oh, golly.
And I thought you could hear it too. So like
I did hear it, but it was extremely faint on my end.
So
because,
for me, it was really loud, and I thought it was playing through my computer at you because you could hear it, and I thought it was really loud for you too. So I was trying to make it stop for both of us.
Oh no, I was like, I had like leaned forward, so because I had like bumped my camera over a little just to nudge it. Well, so then I'm not looking at the screen, right?
Yeah.
And then I come back and I'm talking to you, and I'm like, man, I don't have anything open. Premiere's not open. YouTube, the channel's up, but not the video and everything. And then I lean back, and I'm all by myself. I was like, what happened?
Oh, Jesus.
Did he get his computer shut down?
Pretty much. I closed every app. Every single app I closed. I was so scared. Yeah. And then it kept going. So I was like, that's it. It's happened. I knew I was going to lose my mind eventually. Today is the day. So
it has happened.
Oh, I just got a text from Jay Jacobs.
Oh God.
Who said, oh my God, you guys with 3 smiling.
Yes.
Let me show you. Oh,
yes. Focus. Yes. Bro, he'll come on. I wonder if he remembers that, like, or if that like just like jogged a quick memory for him, or like he like very vividly remembers that, I
feel like that's one of the things. So what we're talking about, if we're going to use this for the pod, we're talking about The Ramp, which is a little short documentary that we just put out today. Really excited about it. Kind of our first non-pod video, silly thing. Look, and I'll take the heat for this. I did it, and so the color grade's not as good as it could be. It's not my best work as far as color grading, but I switched to DaVinci Resolve, and it got me. It messed me up. So the color grade's not amazing. Look past that. Watch the video.
It's tough. I will say I tried DaVinci for a little bit, not for like literally one video.
Yeah,
because Premiere wasn't working right for me. It was freezing up. That was the second episode? I think
yeah.
I believe it was the second pod. And that was terrible. So then I tried Resolve. I tried DaVinci. And it just was not working. I was like, I have to make Premiere work.
Yeah.
Or like I can't learn this fast in order to put something out.
And this is my first video I've done with DaVinci, and I learned as I went. It's like I was new again. I mean, and so I couldn't find the vector scope. I couldn't find all of my stuff that I use to color grade. I couldn't find. So look, my lighting looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Dustin got the short end of the stick because I didn't know it's Canon, so I didn't know the color science, and and two, yeah, it's
okay. I sat in my little storytelling chair and looked like a porcelain doll, but that's okay.
sorry.
I'm kidding.
Next time,
I'm kidding.
Next time
I'm
I get
kidding.
an editing assignment, I'm gonna do you better, bud. I'm gonna do you better. So
Yeah, I won't put my light so bright either, so that'll help. It was bright.
I wish that conversation was recorded. Just me in the phrase of wanting to get this done. You upset because I've done you bad with the color grade, and we weren't fighting.
Well, it's so no.
But I was like, you overexposed your face.
It was so funny though, because like you are very, and this is no fault or no bad anything, but you're impatient when it comes to releasing stuff.
I'm fast.
So like, you want to be fast. You want it to be out. Yeah. I think, you know what? Well, this is going to be at 30 frames a second. I forgot to switch that back.
It's okay.
Oh, well.
It should all, I'm at 30 frames too.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was like, he wants to get this out so fast.
Yeah.
And he's already finished with the edit. Okay. Hey, you do you, bud.
We're 5 minutes in. We're going to get to the main topic, I promise. This might not even be used for this podcast. We might use it for a different one. But we started having the conversation. We're getting so comfortable talking to each other on camera. I was like, I'm just going to push record. I can't sleep if I have a project I won't sleep if I know that I've started an edit. And so I have to get it done. And I'm also like, I'm a speed guy out of everything with editing.
Yeah. efficiency.
Speed and efficiency. And usually it works great because I'm on Final Cut and I'm quick and all this other stuff. Dude, DaVinci, speed ain't it, you know?
Yeah.
It will be eventually though. I'm going to get good at it. But anyways, watch the video, please. And also just know that don't judge Dustin because that was me.
Hey, what's funny, and I plugged my footage into Premiere and I wanted to see like, okay, if I could not necessarily fix your stuff, but I wanted to see what I can pull off in Premiere or whatever.
It was good.
Well, I still was overexposed for sure. But the just what I had done with the color.
Well, and that's the thing too. I didn't
no fault to you. You're in DaVinci and you were learning.
Yeah.
Not
if it was Final Cut, I would have made you look good, bud.
Well, I know.
But Final Cut kept crashing. So,
dude, that's nuts. I still don't understand that. Like you never hear about Final Cut cutting.
You know what? We were supposed to just to kind of to talk about this episode. We were supposed to talk about Canon versus Sony, but I think we shelve it. I think we talk about Final Cut in Premiere because we're already talking about it.
Well, yeah, because and we're already talking about it, and that's like literally like this is what we struggled with today,
right?
You know,
yeah.
And I mean, honestly, like I use Premiere and I constantly, and of course, I think it is just because of the footage that we're using, the amount of it. I have a MacBook Pro. It's like a 2020. It's the first like M1s, the 13-inch. It's the lowest of the low on that, ranking. I don't think it can handle my setup now. Before, when I first got it, I was still using the Canon M50. So a lot of my footage was not log.
Right.
It was not raw. It was just your basic like Canon flat profile, whatever. So it could handle it. Well, then I got the R7 and it was like, hey, you can do C-Log 3 and hey, you can shoot raw and hey, your file sizes are going to be massive.
Is that what you sent
You're going to want a proxy.
Is that what you sent me, a C-Log 3?
C-Log 3.
So to be completely honest with you, man, I may have put in the wrong thing too. I mean, there are so many, there are so many variables to something like this.
Yep.
So I think, for those of our friends that listen to this pod that don't do audio and video, tune on out.
Yeah, this one ain't going to be for you.
It's going to get real geeky real quick.
We're in a headspace right now.
Love you, Mom, but maybe tune in next episode.
Yeah, you remember, Mom, when I told you this probably isn't for you. This is the one. You don't have to listen.
Let's start with that. So this episode is going to be Final Cut versus Premiere. We will talk about DaVinci at the end because we both have about the same amount of experience in it.
About a day or two.
About a day. But this is going to be Final Cut versus Premiere. I've used both. I used Premiere for a walk in the park. At the very first thing that I ever edited video on was Premiere. And then as soon as I could move to Final Cut, because I'm Apple truther, I did. Have you ever used Final Cut?
I have not.
Okay.
I haven't yet. I've watched you use it.
Okay.
That's about the extent of it. I have watched tutorials on YouTube about people doing certain things. And normally, if they start using Final Cut, I'll turn it off.
Yeah.
Mainly because I just don't use Final Cut.
I do the same thing.
It's nothing.
If I see Premiere, I'm like, what is that thing?
Well,
that you're doing.
It's so aggravating too. Like they'll do the whole YouTube trick where it's like color grading made easy, and then it's like, absolutely, I want to look at that. Final Cut.
Yeah,
give me Premiere, please.
It's in another language. I mean, I completely agree. Even though I did a walk in the park with Premiere, it looks so different. I used it in 2017 is when I used Premiere on a work laptop when I worked at the university, and those things ain't beefy. And so my experience with Premiere is loading in, it was probably Rec 709 footage, and watching my computer shut down.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, if we're talking Final Cut and Premiere, and trying to debate against it, because I'm still a Final Cut truther. Yes, I'm making the move.
Oh yeah.
But I'm still a truther.
Everybody's making the move, regardless if you're Final Cut or Premiere, dude. Everybody's like DaVinci.
My first attack against Premiere is that system shuts down so much. I've seen it on forums. I have personal experience with it. It's buggy.
I honestly, as much as I see it around, and I agree, it is buggy. It crashes a lot. I personally haven't had it crash on me as often as everyone says it is. I may just be lucky. I don't know. I probably am not doing a lot of heavy lifting on it.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of my edits are fairly simple. I can get away with it. If I start trying to do too much, then yeah, it'll slow down on me. But I think it's just because my computer can't handle.
Right.
Like it can't keep up. But no, I do agree. It's yeah.
What happened to you on episode 2?
So what happened to me on episode 2, I don't know that it was a Premiere issue. I'm going to be honest.
It works with my narrative. If it's a Premiere thing.
Yeah, I know. You're not that lucky. I was trying to edit off of my hard drive.
Right.
So I have a 2 terabyte Samsung, the T7, whatever. I was trying to edit and have the save file and the cache files all on the hard drive. And I looked and figured out, okay, well, I need to move the actual save file, of the edit to my laptop. I could still have all of my video and audio files, all of my resources and stuff, assets in the hard drive, but I needed to have it so that way the computer can process it, because I think what it was doing, and I could be wrong, but this is what makes sense in my head because I tried everything else, is the hard drive was trying to process it all.
Yeah. It's a solid state.
And it's a solid state. So I mean, yes, it can do some stuff, but it doesn't have RAM in it. It doesn't have, all the stuff.
So the way that I edit When Now or Get Bent is my entire library is on my Samsung T7 solid state, including the render.
Well, I don't know.
If you're keeping track at home, that's ding, Final Cut, boop, if you put a little check mark right here. No more of that. I'm not making any more edits hard for you. Last edit was ridiculous.
That was funny.
Erasing that.
Don't worry,
now
I'll
you have
make
to put that up.
again.
Don't do that. No, but
You're gonna make Premiere crash on me. Gosh.
I don't. I say all of that, right? And I'm saying Premiere is really buggy and crashy.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I switched to DaVinci today is because Final Cut was crashing on me.
Which is unheard of, in my opinion. Like, I've never seen that or heard that.
It does happen, though. In fact, it happens so much that if you go on the Apple message boards, you see like the responses of, if you're a Final Cut user and you're listening to this, I know you've deleted your settings before or deleted your preferences on a reboot.
No,
dude, it's something you have to do every now and then on Final Cut because you will get some preferences that are buggy, and then in order to open your library, you have to do that, and it's really annoying.
Holy
happens
crap.
Quite often.
The only thing I have to do, it might be the same thing, but like and I think it's because my computer doesn't have the hard drive storage space for it. Like I only have like a 256. I have to clear the cache like constantly. Yeah. Because like my system data just fills up with Premiere. And so like once I finish a project now that I know to keep things smooth, finish a project, I'm done with the pod, I'm done making shorts for it. Okay, backlog it into the hard drive, blah, 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 clear the cache.
Right.
Start the next one. But it doesn't, and I may be wrong. So like preferences in Final Cut, like what do you mean by that? Like what are some examples of it?
Bro, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I got to do it.
Oh no!
I know.
Are you talking like your workspace or like saved presets
what
that
it's,
you had?
What it's called? It's called deleting preferences, and so you have to do it. You have to like hold like Control and Shift on startup. But what'll happen to Final Cut and like Premiere? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's like a slow fall when it crashes. You're like, oh, it's getting buggy. Oh, it froze. Right?
Yeah. For the most part.
Final Cut is like an atomic bomb of crash.
Oh God.
So what happens is you're going through and you're editing and then boop, it's gone. And you're like, what happened? And you open it and you open it back up and it doesn't tell you. It's like, Final Cut crashed. And it gives you a crash report with all like the alien numbers and stuff that no one understands why it crashed. No. You open it back up and it seems like everything's okay. And then you get to the exact spot because it's really good at saving as it goes. Like it's almost perfect. You get to the exact spot you were, and then you try to do the thing you were trying to do. Today, I was trying to add one more color wheel, and then it's just like, oop, it's gone. Yeah. So edits can get real frustrating with that.
Look, I'll tell you, and this is kind of not Premiere or Final Cut, but whenever I first started, I had a Lenovo laptop. I was editing our Minecraft videos, Mediocraft. If you go way back in 2017 on my channel, you'll find me and my brother playing some Minecraft,
chilling like a Dylan.
Well,
shout out.
Oh yeah. So I am running, for whatever reason, Linux.
I remember that phase of your life, dude.
Have no business running Linux.
I remember that
at all. I tried to find an open source editor, and it was KDen Live, like KDEN Live. So weird, but it was a video editor. I could not put Windows back on my computer for whatever reason, dude. I don't know, and I probably just didn't know what I was doing. It didn't have an autosave. That
used to be a thing back then.
I know. It used to be a thing. Now, why I did not know how to turn it on that program, I have no idea. Could not figure it out. Again, really early. So I'm editing through this Minecraft video, and I'm like almost done. Freeze. Gray screen, and just lose everything. Bro.
Premiere used to do that too.
I wanted to... Whew, it was the worst.
Yeah. That's a whole nother thing. The cultural revolution that is autosave. For all of you kiddos that are watching Skibbity Toilet,
bro.
For all of you guys that are like, oh yeah, what are you talking about? Before autosave, that wasn't a thing. Look, when I was growing up, I had a computer that was about the size of a frickin' cinder block, like 3 cinder blocks stacked on top of each other was how big my computer was. And it made a ton of noises and it took about 20 minutes to get it started. Once you finally got Word open, you'd type about half of your essay and then the whole thing would crash and you'd go back and you ain't got no essay, brother. You ain't got nothing there. You start over.
Yep.
So that's why we retain information better than the young kiddos, is because like we had to
remember. Had to type it over and over again.
there was no autosave. And
dang it, I don't remember the sources I used.
Oh yeah, the bibliography.
You gotta go find all the sources again.
No. So you had to just complete enough work until you'd earned a save and then remember to save and be like, all right, I've done enough. And you better hope that you're timing that out appropriately, because you can't just save every second. You're not going to get your work done.
You can't even like set, I'm going to save after this paragraph. What if it crashes middle paragraph?
Yeah.
It can happen.
You're in a race against the crash back then.
That's it.
Totally different time. So just if you're laying at bed tonight and you had a bad day, my young friends, just be thankful you grew up. Bad day. Just be thankful you have autosave. All right.
Yes.
End the short. That was the short. All right. Anyways,
Premiere's autosave has actually gotten a lot better. Used to, it would have a pop-up that would pop up and like basically interrupt what you were doing. It's so aggravating. They finally put it in the background like it should be, like anything else.
Magic.
Why?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So we've talked about crashing. So what we figured out here is that both Logic Pro, not Logic Pro, sorry, Final Cut Pro, and audio file over here. Final Cut Pro and Premiere both crash. So it's a wash.
Yeah. Yeah. Wash. Do you find yourself craving something sweet, cold, and made of the softest snow you've ever seen in your life? Well, you're in luck, because us here on Deaton Street know of the best place to go. Snowbees Express, located in Jennings, Louisiana, is the #1 spot to stop for all of your snow cone, soft serve ice cream, and soda on shaved ice needs. They're open year-round because here in Louisiana, we sometimes only get 1 week of cold winter days per year. So come on down to the Red Train Caboose. Yes, you heard that right, a literal caboose, located in Jennings, Louisiana, 420 Roberts Avenue. Currently, they're open 1 to 5, Monday through Saturday. You can find them on Facebook as well to book a party. Just search Snowbees Express and reach out. That's SNOB' Express. What about the timeline? Okay. So like video editing.
Yeah.
All the where you put your video, where you put your audio, line it up. How's that feel in Final Cut?
So again, it's been a long time since I've used Premiere. I think DaVinci is closer to Premiere. And this is going to be a weird way to describe this. And hopefully the people that have used both understand what I'm talking about. Yeah. Final Cut feels to me like, it's called the magnetic timeline and it feels that way. Things like pull towards each other and line up and they stick with each other. And it just kind of has that Apple sense about it where it's just simple and very intuitive, and you don't really, there's not a lot that you have to figure out in order to do something very simple. Premiere is blocky and it has hard edges is the way it makes me feel. And it's just, nothing's rounded and magnetic. It feels like you're kind of playing Minecraft and putting like some blocks together, which is not bad. It's just
I love Minecraft, bro.
The feeling of it, I think, is a lot different. It also, I feel like you don't have like in Final Cut, you don't have video 1, video 2, video 3, all of that stuff, like all that stuff blocked out
in layers.
It's just like everything stacked on top of each other.
It's the same thing.
It is, but it feels different. I mean,
I get what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying.
User design matters,
Yeah, and like Final Cut is very. You could definitely tell it's Apple, because of like you described how the way it works. Premiere definitely feels more like a Windows program. Now, I don't use a Windows computer.
How is that dichotomy
but not for editing? Going back and forth.
Yeah, because Premiere doesn't feel like Apple at all. You go in there and you're in a different world.
I don't know. I mean, like to me, I don't even think of it like that. Like I don't even, I don't find it to be a Windows program, but that might be because I work in IT and like everything else that I do outside of creative is Windows. So like it could just, it's very, it's normal,
Right.
I guess. But no, I mean, to me, like the Premiere timeline, it's easy to see everything, laid out how it needs to be. So like, oh, for let's say for instance, kind of a background, behind the scenes on how I edit the pod. The first video layer is the background, right? The little blue and tan deal. And then on top of that, I either have my video or your video, whichever one, is necessary, and it's cut, whatever. And then on top of that, I have the Deaton Street tag.
Right.
And so that is literally like stacked on top of everything. And then your audio files and stuff like that on the bottom,
Yeah.
I kind of try and keep everything organized.
It's weird. Final Cut's the same way, but it's not at the same time.
Yeah, it just looks different. They do the same thing.
Yeah.
They just look different.
Yeah.
Like I said, it looks more Apple. This one looks more Windows.
The layout of adding effects, specifically, I'm assuming that DaVinci and Premiere is basically the same thing with this. The way that you edit audio and you have way more, it looks like more of a mixer than Final Cut. One of the things that bugs me coming from Logic, which also is an Apple program, but just doing a lot with audio, is that when I mix audio, I kind of want the layout to look like a mixer. I don't know why. It's just that's intuitive when you're doing audio. And I'm okay at doing audio in Final Cut. I do a lot of it because I don't want to go back and forth between two programs. But man, is it not intuitive in Final Cut.
Oh, really? You would think.
There's no mix bus. So,
Okay.
so at the end, there's no like master fader or anything like that. It's just, you do it all in the clip. So, and you drag and drop effects into the clip, and then you have to go to the side and you have all your clips and you reorganize each one.
You can kind of do it you can do it both ways in Premiere. So like there is an audio like mixer where you have like each channel, and then you can control the entire, audio 1, 2, 3, like in the layers. What I tend to do is I usually do audio first because I can export to Audition. I do go back and forth between the two. But once I do the clean on the audio, it saves and updates in Premiere. So if it's in the timeline, I'll hop back in Premiere and it'll boop pop up and be the fixed, file, which I find pretty nice. And like, I like Audition rather than doing the audio stuff in Premiere. I could do it in Premiere. I'm just so used to using Audition. It just makes sense.
There are ways to do it in Logic and Final Cut that way, but it's surprisingly for Apple, at least for me, there are other people that may jump on here and be like, you're an idiot, you're just not doing it right. For me, it's kind of hard to go between the two. You have to export a file as a certain type and then download it. And then when I export it back, it doesn't fit the timeline correctly in Final Cut. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it's not, those two programs don't work as well together as I would expect for an Apple product.
Yeah, I was going to say it's Apple, dude. It's got to.
But Final Cut itself is like the beautiful Apple, like smooth, kind of ease of use. But they don't really, I don't think they really want you to go back and forth between Logic and Final Cut.
Yeah. It's like two totally separate, like, oh, you're going to use Logic. You are mastering a concert. You are doing a studio session. Final Cut, you are making a movie. That's it.
Well, that was going to be one of the points that I talked about next, because I kind of have something in the bag that I think is going to tilt everything towards Final Cut. So I'm trying to really talk crap about it until I do that.
Okay.
I don't think it's made for movies. I think
Final Cut?
Yeah, I think that it's really good for YouTube. I think that there are a lot of applications for it, but I just don't think that you see many movies or TV shows using Final Cut. You see some using Premiere.
I see there are a lot that have moved to DaVinci, but it's mainly DaVinci and Premiere.
DaVinci Premiere, and then of course Avid, which if you have Avid, what are we doing, right? Like, who you don't watch this podcast?
What? Yeah,
Dude,
yeah. You're watching the wrong.
Go
one.
back to freaking editing the next, Star Wars. If you're
Yeah, I was gonna say, go back to Disney Pixar, please.
You make way too much money, dude. Anyway, so it's just not, and the reason I don't think you see a lot of movies and things like that edited on Final Cut is that it's not a priority for Apple. They're working on it. They have a team, but it's not like Adobe where, you can download a plugin like the automatic pod thing that you use to help you hear.
Beautiful, dude.
That stuff comes to Final Cut last. And when I mean last, it's like super, super late. But Apple itself isn't on top of it,
Yeah, I've had the AutoPod thing for over a year now because I used it on another podcast that I did. And it's great. This year, like when we started this one, I looked at AutoPod to see if they had come out with Final Cut. They're like, "Oh, it's coming soon." Yeah. I'm like, "Come on," because I want to be able to, if you have to edit an episode or whatever, absolutely use AutoPod. Yeah. It's gonna make life simple. But I mean, if it's not out for Final Cut, if you're still using Final Cut by that point,
do you remember back in the day? And you may not have had an Apple computer back then, because I kind of jumped on the Apple train earlier than you did. Do you remember when almost every program, every cool thing that you had for computers was like PC only? And then Mac had its own stuff, but it was just like so many. It's like, oh yeah, I would like to check that out, but it's just PC.
I still can't download ROMs and emulators and play them on the MacBook.
Right. Okay. So there's still a lot of that.
That's way more piracy stuff, but whatever.
It felt when, it was cool to have a Mac, and it's still cool to have a Mac, and I'll always use Mac. But when I first got one, it really isolates you from the people that have PC. Final Cut still has that vibe. I think Apple's gotten really good at getting rid of that, but Final Cut has that vibe of, its own little world, and it's not really touching, the other world. All of the cool things that come out on YouTube for the videographers and people that are editing and stuff, I look at their stuff and they're just like, oh yeah, it's for Premiere. It's like crap.
I know for a while there, I wouldn't get Apple because it was so expensive. That's the whole reason why I wouldn't get it. But then I switched to iPhone or whatever. And then I was given a MacBook to do some audio editing, and very, very simple, not anything crazy. And I was like, oh my God, this works so well together. Yeah. I can text off of my computer. That blew my mind. The ecosystem. I knew it was a thing. Yeah. The ecosystem. Right. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know where we were with Premiere Final Cut.
Basically what I'm saying is that Final Cut is still dealing with kind of the old Apple ecosystem thing of where it's kind of on its own.
That's right.
Yeah. We're coming up to, we're trying to make this short episode. We've already just kind of rambled on for 32 minutes. Two things I want to do. I want to talk about my last, the thing that I think that actually puts Final Cut over the edge. And then I want to talk about if someone came up to you, or I guess if someone came up to both of us in the comments and they said like, hey, I want to edit some stuff. What should I buy? What should I go with?
Yeah.
So first off though, I think the thing that sets Final Cut apart and the thing that I think makes it better than Premiere,
I think I know what you're going to say,
is that it is a one-time purchase, unless you want the iPad app.
Yeah.
Asterisk. Because the iPad app is subscription, but it's a one-time purchase and you're done, dude.
I know.
Apple ain't knocking down my door asking for $30 every month so I can edit YouTube videos.
Oh no, it's not 30. Well, okay, so maybe it's $20 for Premiere a month. If you want the whole suite though, Yeah, you
I mean, this is public information. How much is it?
it's like $60 to $80 a month, depending on if you want like the Creative Cloud and everything else.
That is almost $100 after taxes. That is over $1,000 a year to access a video editing software.
Now it's not just video editing. The whole suite is like 15, at least 15 apps. Do I use all 15 of them? No, but this is the only reason why I justify getting the suite, essentially, for me, because I was using Audition, I was using Premiere. Well, that's $40 right there, right? Because they do, at the time it was like 20 and 20, and then you can get Photoshop and Lightroom for like an extra 10, so that's $50. Well, then if I spend the extra 10, I get the full suite and have access to everything.
That's how they get you.
So that's how they get you, you know. But I mean, I have access to an animating software if I wanted, After Effects, which is so hard, but it is so good. Premiere, Audition, Photoshop, Lightroom, Illustrator, all kind of crap, you know. So that is the only reason why I do the sub for Adobe, is because you get everything. They used to, way back in the day, have a one-time purchase thing. But they were like, hey, we can actually make a lot more money off of this. And people will not care for, you know, whatever reason. Would I love to do a one-time purchase? Absolutely.
So Final Cut's $300.
Yeah.
And you're done. And they'll never, and I'll say they'll never. I mean, we're at Final Cut 10. We've been at Final Cut and Logic Pro 10 for a long time. Who knows if eventually they're going to come back and when they switch over to 11 and ask for more money? Who knows? I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I mean, but there's no telling. But I mean, like, okay, so that's $300 that you paid, and how long have they had 10 out?
Oh,
and
geez,
if it's you know, forever versus the, you know, what you said, $1,000 a year. In Adobe.
Yeah, but to be fair to your point, it's not $1,000 a year if you're just doing Premiere. It's closer to like, what's that, $240 a year. So that's like that. I mean, that's almost Final Cut though. You know?
Yeah, almost Final Cut for a year when you paid $300 and you have years.
Right.
Same thing with DaVinci.
Argument against that though is like, what if I'm not sure if editing's for me? Should I spend $300 on Final Cut, or should I get?
You get Premiere for $20 for 1 month, and then cancel it because you don't like it.
Right.
You know, or not because you don't like Premiere, because you're not into video editing. Yeah.
All right.
Fair point though. I would so much rather pay a one-time purchase for Adobe. You know.
So here's the. I'm gonna let you take the beginning of this.
Okay.
Someone comments on our channel, on our video, which, you know, please like, subscribe, and comment. Helps the algorithm. We're trying to beat the Algor Dragon. It's easier to say in text.
Algor Dragon.
Algor Dragon. Yeah. The only way
I'm going to finish that graphic and release it at some point.
The only way we can defeat him is if we feed into it and you like, comment, subscribe.
Absolutely. That means you too, Mom. I know you've been commenting.
She's not listening anymore.
Thanks.
We told her to go away.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, if you made it this far, Mom, then congrats.
We get a comment. It says,
"Yep,
love your work. It's nice to see that I'm not the only one that's editing things that don't know, you know, anything about editing things, you know. But I'm ready to make the jump. What do I get? What we have to be a united force. We have to. We're Deaton Street. Yeah. We're not Deaton Street and somebody else. It's both of us. What are we saying?
Yeah. What's so funny is you're saying we need to be united. We have completely different setups, the entire way around.
Yeah. I'm trying to think that
to ask us to be united is impossible.
We both have iPhones.
That's it. We both have Mac and iPhones, and that's about it.
We even have different types of Macs. I have an Intel.
I have an M1. You know, like our cameras are different, our mics are different, our lights are different, our tastes are different. You use Final Cut, I use Premiere. pretty much we work on a totally different wavelength.
Yep.
As far as if somebody approached me, what do I want to do, or what program do I need to get? I would probably say DaVinci. The only reason, not because I know DaVinci, I have no idea. It's free. There is a free version, and then you can get a taste of some sort of video editing. I know DaVinci is all about the color grade. Their stuff is fantastic. It looks great. I cannot get into the node system quite yet. It doesn't make sense to me. Whatever. I know how to work Premiere. That's just me. It's free. You do not have to pay $20. It is free.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay $300. It's free. You try it out. And then if you like it, then cool. You get to video editing. Well, maybe DaVinci isn't doing kind of what you need it to do. Let's try Premiere. That's $20. $20 for 1 month. Cool. I can swing that. Final Cut. I don't know that there's a free version, but I mean, really, if you're going to use DaVinci or Premiere, I don't know that you would want to go to Final Cut. No dig against Final Cut.
You might though.
But
like it works for people's brains. I'm glad that I learned on Final Cut first, because I'm a very Final Cut brain. You know.
Now, would you say, and I probably could have asked this earlier, would you say that Final Cut is close to iMovie?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. So iMovie's a jump up into Final Cut, just like GarageBand is a jump up into Logic. So if you know a little bit about GarageBand, Logic is easier. If you know a little bit about iMovie, Final Cut's easier.
Yep. Nope. I hated iMovie.
It's pretty not great. iMovie is. So to round this up, Dustin says DaVinci. Dustin says we're not going to be a combined front here because we're so different, but that's exactly what I would say too. For a different reason than him. Not because I'm not committing to DaVinci. I'm going to use it for a little bit and see, but I might go back to Final Cut. The reason I would say DaVinci is because that's the way people are moving. And if you're starting now, I would say be where people are going to be in 2 or 3 years, not where people have been. Right.
Exactly.
So go ahead and jump on, get that free DaVinci, learn the nodes. I messed with some nodes today. I kind of understand what nodes are. They're not though. So
I get it, but then like it's a whole other animal. The way you color grade in Premiere is so different. The way you color grade in Final Cut is so different than. Wait, no, I'm sorry. I don't know. Yeah. Is it pretty similar?
Well, I mean, I couldn't figure out how to color grade today. You look pale. You're a porcelain doll, buddy, because I couldn't figure it out. Yeah. So
no. But like I guess what I'm saying is like the layout of DaVinci versus Final Cut.
I mean, some of the tools
totally different.
Some of the tools are similar, but no.
For color grading?
Yeah, but not in any meaningful way. I mean, the only reason that I was able to kind of do something is because I looked up tutorials, because it's like a different language. They label things differently between Final Cut and DaVinci.
Well, that's like looking up, your Windows file viewer versus Finder.
Right.
I had somebody have a Mac or whatever. Thanks, Oliver. Did you hear that?
Oh yeah, I heard that one. Leave it in though. Don't cut that out. Don't cut that. That's character.
Yeah, it's in there. Thanks, Oliver. He shook his head, rattled his collar. See, he doesn't like Final Cut either. He just shook his head no. I don't even remember what I was talking about.
Let's wrap this up. We're at 42 minutes. Yeah. The moral of the story is that Final Cut and Premiere both have their issues, and that it's honestly, it making stuff is not about that. It's not about Final Cut. It's not about Premiere. It's about your content. Everything's about content and your ideas and your creativity. Either program will work. Either program will give you headaches.
Yep. It's technology.
DaVinci seems like it's perfect if you're smart enough. I don't know if we're smart enough yet. That's to be.
I'm not smart.
We'll see.
I need to take another IQ test and see.
Well,
because it ain't happening.
Long story short, though.
But yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, as long as you love what you do, like we do. I mean, I love editing and making videos and whatever else. Like, so I'm going to figure out a way to do it.
Yeah.
Whether it be Final Cut, whether it be Premiere, whether it be DaVinci, whether it be Kden Live on the old Linux. As long as you enjoy what you do, I mean, you're going to work around it. You're going to make it happen.
People ask me when I have a really busy editing day, or really it's like editing weekend or whatever. They ask me how I'm doing and like how, you know, and I always say like living the dream. And I think people think I'm being sarcastic, but I'm not. Like 2 people could watch our stuff. It's just fun, man. And if you feel that way, any program that you use is going to be fine.
Yep.
All right, man. Love you.
Absolutely. Love you, dude.
Peace.
See ya.
I'm walking the streets of nowhere. I'm playing